Hey, Ravings and Cravings here, otherwise known as Ruth Hartunian Allenbaugh. Welcome this evening. I can't wait to unpack tonight's episode. You are going to love every single bite. I'm not sure about that bite, though.
Yep.
Maybe not that one. I'm here with Brian Scott Smith, incarnate, in the flesh. His show is right after this one, every Monday at 5:30. So why don't you put in your plug for that now and do it later, too? So why not? Go ahead.
You've got an entire hour of me because you got half an hour live, which is unusual, and then you're going to get half an hour of pre-recorded.
But live is awesome.
Well, I hope so.
I love live.
It's been fun, and even before we even started, has been we're going to have lots of munching and crunching.
Yes, we are. We are.
So obviously, Connecticut East this week, Pandemonium Rainforest Project. Talking to Alison Sloan, who's the founder, all about exotic animals, and you'll hear all about that at 5:30.
And you have a Facebook page, and
yes,
could you just
on all the socials
for my benefit and for the benefit of the people out there, because some people don't know everything.
Okay,
believe it or not. Tell us a little about your history as far as radio and broadcasting.
Oh gosh.
Okay, but you got to keep it short because we need to eat.
I was going to say, it's only a 25-minute show.
I know, but I want people to get a little flavor for who you are.
The quick elevator pitch then. So I've been a broadcaster now for over 20 years. I originally come from England, which is where the weird accent comes from. I will never get rid of my weird English accent.
I like that accent.
It gets me money. Legally, I should say. We should point out, or legally. And... so I do the podcast. I report for an NPR station here in Connecticut as well. Cool. And just do a variety of things. Keeps me employed. And I've been here, 15 years? 15. I was just trying to count that up the other day, and it's unbelievable. I know when you say these things, it's like, oh, that sounds so slight passe. When you say, oh, it doesn't feel like 15 years. It really doesn't feel like 15 years has gone by.
Were you always doing Connecticut East for all that time?
No. I was I've worked in the television industry as well, sort of thing. Okay. So I was, I do TV and audio. But Connecticut East has been going for just over 3 years.
Awesome. And I have been doing Ravings and Cravings for almost a year and a half.
There you go.
Right before you. So that's kind of like, so the context, the angle for today's interview, just so that you guys get this, is Brian Scott Smith is my neighbor. And I wanted to meet my neighbor.
On the radio.
Yes, and I wanted to meet my neighbor in person. And people who are neighbors share meals together, and they share food.
I know.
And so I brought some things from my background today to try, for Brian Scott Smith to try. And he brought some things from his side of the pond, and we're going to put those all together and see what we have.
I know. I don't think there's going to be a lot of talking. It's just going to be a lot of munching and crunching sort of thing.
Well, we did. Some of us tried one of the things before we went on the air, and
you mean these, Ruth?
Yeah, we were.
You don't like these?
Kind of choking on those.
These are twiglets.
Yep.
Yeah. So the interesting thing, I think, about the American palate versus the English palate is I think Americans generally prefer things a little bit sweeter. And English people, they like sweet things, but they also, like savoury. And this is a little bit savoury. So I'm just going to show this to the camera. And for the people at home, obviously, who are just listening to this looks like a stick, but it's made from whole wheat, and it's got like a yeasty flavour on it, and it's called a twiglet, and it's a very Christmassy thing in the UK. So people tend, you can buy them all year round, but people tend to, because Christmas is our big one. I mean, we don't have Thanksgiving in the UK, so Christmas is our big holiday. Right. It's our big Turkey Day and all that sort of thing. So yeah, the twiglets comes out at Christmas. So yeah. So
I tried it, and I didn't look at the ingredient list, and at first I didn't have a very complimentary word for it. But then I thought of a complimentary word, and I said it tasted earthy.
Yes.
And then we looked at the ingredient list, and it has like yeast in it, and barley something or another.
Yep.
I would not choose this for my favorite snack, but I appreciate trying new things. So, I'm a fan. I think we should go on to the Marmite one, since we're talking about interesting.
So here's the other one. So it's Walker's is actually Lay's. Over here.
Lay's makes it?
Yeah, so if you look at that, does that not look familiar?
The logo.
The logo, yeah. So Walker's is actually Lay's over here, and Marmite is a very British thing. In Australia, they call it Vegemite. And again, it's a very acquired taste. And the reason I brought you these is because if you actually have real Marmite, which comes in this little jar, and you put it on a cracker or toast, often people don't know what it is. And it's quite a dark sort of like viscous liquids type of thing. And they smear it on like butter.
Ooh.
And then take a taste, and that's when the fireworks happen, because it's very salty. Very salty. So this is the better way to try it.
This is the better way.
So these are crisps, of course, as we call them in the UK, or chips over here.
I'll smell things before I eat them.
No, you should.
Right?
You should. But that's sort of like, it's a slightly dumbed down version.
That's okay, because I've had Marmite and I don't care for it.
Yeah. I think try that and see what you think. You probably still won't like it, but it's a little bit more palatable.
No, it's actually better.
Yeah.
It's much better. Has a better, it's not as strong a flavor.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how someone could swipe that on anything. Like the spread stuff, I don't know how they could. Do you do that?
Yeah. And you do it with cheese as well.
Well, I could see cheese on there.
Marmite and cheese.
Well, I brought a couple things for you to try too.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop those out.
You know, it was his birthday on Friday.
Yeah.
So I got a little bird to tell me some things that could be good, possible things that I could make. And so, since I'm from Wisconsin, because I said I was bringing my Midwest kind of stuff, because that's where I'm from, and he's from the UK. So I brought in like a 6 or 7 cheese macaroni and cheese.
This looks gorgeous.
For you to try.
Just point that to the camera. Again, for the people listening just on radio, this is just...
Well, and I think macaroni and cheese is better with more than 2 or 3 cheeses. So some of,
That is really good. And I like it. I'm getting like sharp and strong cheddar in that, which I adore. Okay. I'm a complete cheese freak.
Yay!
Of
course. I'm a cheesehead too.
Well, don't forget. You know, cheddar did come from the United Kingdom, so.
Did it? Oh,
there is a place in the United Kingdom called Cheddar, and that's where cheddar cheese comes from.
All right, awesome. So I brought that.
That was lovely.
I'm glad you could try that. I also made, and I looked for some recipes because I was like, I like to play in my kitchen. So I found this recipe for Victoria sponge cake. And I never made it before, but I love it, and I think I would make it again. So I brought that and a little bit of homemade lemon curd for if you want to go ahead and dip, or if you don't want to, it's fine.
I'm going to do that. So here's our little bits of Victoria sponge, which I have to say, this is the most dainty Victoria sponge I've ever had in my life. It's very, let's dip that. And lemon curd is just to die for.
I love lemon curd.
Yeah, that is a really good combination.
Is it?
So traditionally, Victoria sponge in the UK would have cream and like either a raspberry or strawberry jam in the middle.
Jam.
Or jelly, of course, as we call it here in the US. Oh. That is really nice. The lemon curd is both of them. You knock that one out of the park. So, I'm not going to go all Simon Cowell on you. So,
well, and you know, it's
meanness.
It's risky to make stuff from someone else's
of course it is.
Country, because I don't know, maybe your mom had the best of something. Did she have the best of something?
Yeah.
What did she have the best of?
Liver and onions.
I love liver and onions.
And so, absolutely. I mean, just like you, I've got friends from all over the world, and one of my friends, she's originally from, from Singapore, and for years, I resisted cooking anything sort of like Chinese or Asian. Sure. Because she is such a good cook, and I finally, did it. But yeah, it's scary because like you said, people have got ideas. They know what it should taste like.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I've traveled internationally too, and Chinese food in China is not like
way different.
It's not
way
Chinese
different. Yeah,
very different.
It's very westernized here, and like you said, to your point, until you go there and you realise how different it is. Like scary different. I mean, it's tasty. There's nothing wrong with it, but it just tastes completely different.
It does.
It really does.
What should we go for next? We have a lot of things sitting out here. I'm not sure.
I'm going to you want to pick? Chocolate. Okay. You like your chocolate?
I love chocolate.
So I brought 2 classic British chocolate bars here. One's called Crunchy, and one is called Flake, and they are both. Everybody loves those in the UK. They're very different, so I'm going to quickly open up the Crunchy one. We can get this open. I should have pre-opened this, shouldn't I? There we go. And try this, because it doesn't look too interesting. Try it.
Yeah, it looks like just a regular run-of-the-mill
chocolate bar. Yep.
Covered chocolate bar. I'll break it off so that you don't have my germs if you're going to eat some. Ooh.
Ah.
Oh, this is you know what we call this in Wisconsin? It's called fairy food.
Okay. So, so inside it's got honeycomb. Not real honeycomb, but the equivalent. But that is...
I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to hold this as close as I can.
It just melts in your mouth.
It does.
Oh, it does.
Wow.
So
that is a shot of sugar.
That is a shot of sugar.
Who makes this?
That's made by Cadbury.
Miss Cadbury.
Which, of course, is owned by Hershey now. So Hershey
Hershey bought Cadbury?
Yep. So the other one we're going to do now is Flake. And that's also made by Cadbury. Now, this one is exactly as its name suggests. It's difficult. It looks... Again, I'm going to hold it up and like just turn it around. You can see it's layered. Layered chocolate.
Looks like a tree trunk.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a log, maybe chocolate. Let's try that.
Will that like crumble if I break it off?
Yeah, you just need to. Yeah, just pop it.
All right.
Pop it straight in and go for it. Because it really will just complete. Yeah, see? There you go. Is that... I mean, it's milk chocolate, so you have to like milk chocolate. Not everybody likes milk chocolate. And they don't do a dark chocolate version of it, but it does work.
Not all milk chocolates are created alike either.
This is true. This is true.
So you must like Cadbury milk chocolate.
Well, Cadbury sort of in the UK is really one of the biggest makers of sort of candies and chocolates, really. I mean, there are other ones. But yeah, Cadbury, because like, you know the cream eggs that we get here? The Easter time in the rabbit commercials, the Cadbury's cream eggs. Well, again, it's sort of from the same company. So
I like the ones with the hard shell, those Cadbury eggs. They are crunchy and they have the chocolate on the inside.
There you go.
Those are hard to find.
So the whole point of this is, British food hasn't always had a great reputation. It has changed over the years, but there are certain things, as in any culture, that really do stand out, and the chocolate certainly does stand out. The one I'm going to go for next, though, which I was so pleased when you mentioned this. I mean, all of this that you've made is just phenomenal. Is this now trifle? Classic British dessert.
Yep.
And you even put cream on the top, which is rare. Because people will put like the custard and then they forget about the cream. But that is a real classic and that is beautiful.
I'm so happy.
I mean, look at this, all this layered. It's like a lasagna made from fruit.
Yeah, but it's...
But it's just, so I'm just going to dig in.
Yeah, check it out.
So what made you do this one? Because this is unusual. I mean, I know you can get trifle in there. Trifle's not really an American thing as much, is it?
Maybe they're more so now than they were before. I have friends who are from England, and she would make a trifle, and she would swear by the fact that she always uses bird's custard.
Which you have, haven't you? Because I can taste it.
I did. I found it.
Wow. See, again, that's got a particular taste.
It does. And it's an interesting way to make it. So guys out there who think that good food has to take hours...
Nope.
I opened a packet of powder and I added boiling water. I stirred it around and I walked away. So that was the extent of the cooking for that. I mean, is that like really bird's custard or are there like longer cook versions?
There's even shorter cook versions in
Shorter
the UK.
Than that?
Yeah, you can buy it in like, a pouch. And it's already made and all you do is and you warm it up in the microwave. I mean, you can eat, you can buy it in a can as well. So it comes in a can, so you can just, and again, warm it up. But yeah, the powdered stuff, I suppose when I was younger, before they came up with the one with the hot water, it was still powder. And then what you would do is you would just heat up milk instead. So it was a little bit of a longer process. So of course you had to be careful with the milk that you didn't
scald it.
But yeah, this is phenomenal. So one thing missing from this, and you would not maybe have known this, is alcohol. Generally, in a trifle, in a British trifle, they will put alcohol, and that's either something like a sherry, or so like maybe like a marsala wine, something like that.
At what point do you add that in there? Like, do you soak the cake in it?
You can do that. So yeah, you could either sort of like soak the cake in it, or the fruit. What you could do is you could macerate the fruit in it.
Oh, okay.
So, but this is, I'm just going to carry on eating.
Well, and I got the whipping cream. I whipped it. I like putting powdered sugar and a little vanilla in it, so it's not just.
See, that is another American thing.
I don't.
That's not a
British thing.
Yeah,
right?
and I don't dislike that. See, in the UK, Generally, I mean, I'm not saying you can't get it. You can. Obviously, you know, trends and tastes change. But generally in the UK, if you get like whipped cream on something, it is literally just whipped cream. They don't tend to add sugar into it. They don't tend to put vanilla in it. So it is very much just, you know, it's the whipped version of, you know, the liquid. But over here, I've noticed in America, a little bit of sugar in there, a bit of vanilla. I love it. I mean, you know, I'm not a huge cream eater. You know, my husband will attest to that, because whenever we've gone out and we've had like desserts or things and it comes out with cream, it's like, yeah, there you go, you can have the cream of that. I mean, I like it. I'm just not a huge eater of it, but this, that is good. Yeah, that's good.
That was fun to make, and like I said, that Victoria sponge recipe, that was interesting recipe, and I spent a lot of time with international friends, and they're not like a lot of Americans as far as their palate. Like these espresso chocolate brownies, this would be too sweet, too much frosting, too much of everything, but they would love a Victoria sponge cake with just some fruit on the side even, no whipped cream even.
See, now, it's interesting. This is where I'm going to sound like it almost sounds like I'm contradicting myself. So the creams thing, yep, I can take it or leave it, and it's fine. Frosting, I love frosting. So, you know, so I'm going to have a little bit of that now because I've not had. Too. But yeah, frosting and cupcakes, of course. That's such an American thing.
I'll show you what he's eating here. That has espresso powder in there.
That is really good.
And that'll keep you awake for the drive home.
It will.
We have so many other things. Let's just mention what we have here, because we're gonna be out of time. So
we're going to quickly give you this.
Definitely want to
have this. There's a Jaffa cake. So this is another classic British item, and the argument is it a cake or is it a cookie?
Guys, come on.
So it's sponge, which of course that's where the argument about, you know, is it a cake? You've got orange filling, and then chocolate on top. So this is. So what did we say we were going to call it?
A cakey.
A cakey, because we're gonna like bring the two of them together.
It's a hybrid of cake and cookie.
It's a cakey.
We have some frosted banana bars. We have a couple other things, but put in a plug one more time for your show, because we're going to run out of time, and I want to make sure you get to do that.
Thank you. So coming up at 5:30 on Connecticut East this week, we're talking to Alison Sloan, founder of the Pandemonium Rainforest Project down in Deep River, Middlesex County, Connecticut. If you haven't been there, do go and visit it, because she helps to look after and rehabilitate exotic animals when people suddenly find out that, you know, they just can't deal with them anymore, or, you know, they escape, etc. Absolute phenomenal project and great interview, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. You can even sponsor an animal as well. I mean,
and it's actually, cool it abuts a big, huge thrift store on steroids.
It is, yes.
Because I've been there.
There we go.
I have. Guys, I'm out of time already. It's really sad. Matt, can you just, like, give me a couple more minutes?
Gotta play Brian's show.
I don't want to run into that. Okay, so how much time do I got?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Hey, this is Ruth Hartunian Alaba. I'm signing off with the amazing Brian Scott Smith, who you'll get to listen to in a couple of minutes. Thanks for tuning in today on Good Company WILI.